Today I'm talking about Volume 3, the Subliminal Verses, the third studio album by Slipknot, released on May 25th, 2004 by Roadrunner Records. The album is celebrating 20 years. It's the band-only album produced by Rick Rubin. They also changed the sound for this album, so I'm wondering, was it for the better? So here's the CD right here. I'll be showing some close-ups later on. The story begins with fans awaiting Slipknot's third album. Now, the album Iowa was a fan favorite, so they were anticipating a follow-up to this. Iowa set the bar very high, peaking at number 3 on the Billboard charts and hitting number 1 in the UK. And this band was also in the spotlight. Unfortunately, the band started to experience internal troubles. Long tours and recording schedules had taken their toll on the band members, straining relationships and causing conflicts. By mid-2002, Slipknot had gone on hiatus. Each member worked on their own side project. Corey Taylor and Jim Root reformed Stone Sour. Joey Jordison formed Murder Dolls, and Sean Crahan started To My Surprise. Sid Wilson began a solo career as a DJ Starscream. While this was happening, fans and critics wondered about the future of Slipknot. There were even more speculation when Corey Taylor and Joey Jordison made unmasked appearances on MTV to promote their new projects. Corey Taylor made some comments that hinted at unresolved issues, which caused more rumors. But in January 2003, the band hinted at a new album on their official website, dispelling rumors of a breakout. Despite the internal troubles, the band stuck together despite their internal issues. Slipknot began creating what will become the new album, Volume 3. It was the only album produced by Rick Rubin, one of the biggest rock and metal producers at that time. The sessions were intense, driven by the band's need to prove that they were far from over. The album was released on May 25th, 2004, and marked a new chapter for Slipknot. Slipknot was back, and they were here to stay. The recording process for this album began in 2003 at The Mansion in Los Angeles. Slipknot set out to create an album that would both redefine their sound and reaffirm their place in heavy metal. Initially, the process was difficult. The members had spent significant time on their respective side projects, giving them a new perspective. The band later admitted that these side projects had saved the band and helped them break out of the box they were in. At first, the initial sessions at the Mansion were anything but productive. Let me read a quote by the late Joey Jordison. "We didn't talk to each other for 3 months. We just sat there wasting money in the fucking Houdini mansion." So let me read a quote by Sean Crahan, who said, "Eventually we got sick of waiting for shit to happen. We got together, we had a few beers, and we wrote a really artsy, fucked up song called Happy Ending. And then at this point in the story, Slipknot were back." The strategy for the next album was to write a lot of new songs. It was a different approach compared to the previous albums. It wasn't easy working with Rick Rubin. He was not always present in the studio. He was known for juggling on multiple projects. Here's a quote from Corey Taylor on Rick Rubin. "We were being charged horrendous amounts of money, and for me, if you're going to produce something, you're fucking there. I don't care who you are. He's overrated, he's overpaid, and I will never work with him again." On the other hand, guitarist Jim Root had a different opinion, so here's a quote from him. "A lot of guys in the band say Rick was unavailable, and yeah, he takes on a lot of projects at one time, but he also does things that are beneficial. So he appreciated Rubin's ability to listen critically and provide valuable feedback, even from a distance." So according to Jim Root, Volume 3 was his favorite record that they had done. But one person was struggling with his personal demons. It was Corey Taylor. He admitted to drinking heavily. And he said, "I would drink from the moment I got up until the moment I passed out. This lifestyle affected his performance, and he had to redo many vocal takes. Despite these personal battles, the band pushed forward. They eventually finished the record, and the album was met with critical acclaim." Stretched across my shame, all the torment and Talk about the musical direction. The band members had promised a more experimental album, and drummer Joey Jordison described it as, "It's almost as if Slayer was tapping on Radiohead." This new direction was a departure from their previous work. It was still heavy, but the songs were more accessible. For the first time in Slipknot's career, acoustic guitars played a significant role. Tracks like Circle and Vermilion Part 2 were led by acoustic rather than electric guitars, showcasing a softer side of the band. But don't worry, they were still heavy, as it could be heard with tracks like Pulse of the Maggots, and Before I Forget. There was also more melody in the songs, which could be heard on The Blister Exists, 3-0, and Opium of the People. The most apparent shift was in Corey Taylor's vocal style. Unlike their earlier albums, which relied heavily on screamed vocals, Volume 3 featured a more varied approach. Entertainment Weekly noted the album's ability to bounce between overpowering speed metal and haunting acoustic rock. An example of this would be the song Vermilion, which had guitar solos and melodic song structures, something that was new for the band.
I'd do anything to have her to myself, to have her for myself.
The album was also notable for its lyrical content. Unlike previous Slipknot albums, this one did not have a parental advisory label. Corey Taylor made a conscious effort to minimize the use of profanity, as critics said that he relied too heavily on it in the previous albums. The shift also allowed the band to write lyrical themes of anger, disaffection, and psychosis to shine through more vividly. Critics praised Taylor's vocal performance and lyrics. AllMusic highlighted the album's use of metaphors and thematic complexity. The closing track, Danger, Keep Away, was singled out as particularly impactful with its haunting and emotional delivery. The album cover was designed by percussionist Sean Crahan. The album featured the maggot mask, a stitched leather creation with a zipper around its mouth area. The mask was a tribute to Slipknot's devoted fan base, also known as maggots. The mask became an iconic piece of the band's merchandise and was featured in the music video for the album's second single, Vermilion, where the mask appeared whenever the protagonist donned the mask. The band also promoted the album heavily. They released Pulse of the Maggots as a free downloadable track for one day only on March 30th, 2004. This was something not very common back then. They then began the Subliminal Verses World Tour. The tour kicked off with an appearance at the Jägermeister Music Tour, setting the stage for a series of performances worldwide. On May 2004, Slipknot released Duality. That's the first official single from the album. The song's release was strategically timed to build momentum leading up to the album's launch on May 25, 2004. Duality was also released as a special edition 7-inch red vinyl release. The album's release was accompanied by a limited edition CD that could connect to Slipknot's website and unlock new songs and promotional material, though this feature ceased functioning by 2000. The album produced several other notable singles, including Vermilion, Before I Forget, and The Blister Exists. Each single showcased the band's evolving sound and highlighted their ability to blend aggressive metal with melodic elements. A special edition of the album was released on April 12, 2005. Included a bonus disc offering fans additional content and deeper insights into the band's creative process. In the end, the album showcased their ability to evolve while staying true to their roots. With tracks like Duality, Vermilion, and Before I Forget, the band pushed their musical boundaries and demonstrated their resilience in the face of their internal struggles. Do you think it was too much of a change from the Iowa album? How would you rank this album against their other albums? And do you think they should have stuck to their Iowa sound? Check out my older review of Iowa from a few years ago. Please like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you're not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.